Hello? What the heck? Why am I not working? Hello. I think we're in business. I think we're in business. All right. Sorry about that. I think we've got it all situated. So, tonight I wanted to go through setting up Selenium Webdriver in a side by side comparison in Python and Java. To me, that's the two most popular ones that are used. I know they have it for a variety of languages, but I've done it in Java for maybe the past 10 years, and I just started using it in Python just this past year. So I wanted to take us on a side by side comparison on how to set it up. Like I said in the description and the announcement for this live stream, that you should already have Java installed on your computer and Python installed on your computer. And we're going to be, the IDE that I'm going to be using is IntelliJ from JetBrains and PyCharm from JetBrains. If you don't have that and you'd like to, the link should be in the description on where you can go to download the community version or the paid version, whichever it is that you prefer. So here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new project in both. So this one is going to be our Python side. And this is going, oh wait, I have to, let me share my screen. That is good. So can't do anything without sharing the screen, right? So, okay. Let me get that. Let me get my desktop. It should be this one. Display capture. Let's do screen and move this over here. That up one. And we should be good to go. Share the screen. So, all right, let me come back on camera. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. So on one side, on our right side over here, we're going to have Python. our Python side, and on our left side, we're going to have our Java side. So in this browser here, I have MVN repository. This is a repo, the Maven. We use Maven. One of the options in Java is to use Maven, and it has a lot of bunch of different repos. You can import that into your project, and you can use those without having to actually manually install all these libraries onto your computer. On the Python side, we have pypy.org, where, as it says here, find, install, and publish Python packages with the Python package index. So the goal of this video, like I said earlier, is to take us on a side-by-side comparison on how to set up, on how it would be setting up um, Selenium WebDriver in both, and the tools that we would generally use to set up Selenium WebDriver. And at the end, you can make your own. You can make your own analysis on which one you think is better or which one you want to try or both, and share your thoughts in the comments, and we can go from there. All right, so let's do this then. So this project I'm going to call PCR Selenium WebDriver. Understand? And I'm going to name the same thing. Let's say TCR. And in this one, I'm going to call it the same thing. All right, so we are going to do language Java, build system for Maven on the Java side. And on the Python side, we're going to do, we're using a virtual environment, and we're going to do the base interpreter of Python 3.10. All right, I think we have everything that we need here. Maven, all right, cool. And let's create on one side, and let's create on the other. You see, and you see how, because they're both by JetBrains, they look almost identical. So let's move this over here. Create this one. So we're going to move this here smaller, and I'll expand as necessary because we won't be needing these two sites for that long. So all right, here we go. So first thing that we're going to want to do is gather all of our libraries from the repository, from the Maven repository that we would need to use in order to set up Selenium WebDriver. A couple of ones that I typically use are, of course, Selenium WebDriver. I use TestNG. I use the WebDriver Manager, and there's a few more, but let's start with those, right? So inside of mvnrepository.com, the Maven repository, the very first one I normally do is I normally do TestNG first because TestNG is what allows it to run. So we're gonna, and when you search it, you see org.testng, and I'm going to scroll down, and I normally just get the latest one, and I'm going to copy this XML code. I'm going inside of IntelliJ. I'm going to open up my pom.xml file, and so there should be a dependency section, but it's not here. So I'm going to just create it, dependencies, and I'm just going to paste the TestNG dependency in here, right? Just this. We might have some issues with this, but we can take care of that later. So let's continue setting up. Let's continue setting this up. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is get Selenium Webdriver. Let's see, space. All right, so I want the one from Selenium HQ. Going to get the first one. Oh. Gonna need Selenium Java, latest version. Sometimes, based on where you work and the infrastructure and framework, it's not easy to use the latest one, but because we're just going through this setup, we are able to use the latest one, but you would figure that out within your organization. Going back, going to take Selenium API, take the latest one, and I'm going to paste it in here. So now we have Selenium API, Selenium Java, TestNG. The last one I need is the WebDriver Manager. I don't know if it's an MVN repository. Let's see. Not the one that I want. I like to use the one from Bonnie Garcia. So I'm just going to search Bonnie Garcia GitHub. This WebDriver Manager, we came across it maybe like almost 10 years ago, maybe eight to 10 years ago. And this thing has been a lifesaver. Since then, there's been other versions made from it. But so this is basically what it is. When using Selenium, you need a driver for the browser that will allow it to control the browser. It's called a binary. And usually you'd have to download it to a local location on your computer. And then once you start it, it's going to find that local location and it's going to use that in order to be able to control your browser. The problem is every time there's an update to it, it's a headache. And then if you have to find, like, you would need to have potentially a relative or absolute path on the computer, because if you're running different projects that have tests, you'd either have to download that binary to each of the projects or in one centralized location that calls on it, right? It was such a hassle, and then you'd have to do it for Firefox, for Chrome, pretty much any browser that you wanted to run. However, Bonnie Garcia, he created the WebDriver Manager where, so let's read the description first, right? WebDriver Manager is an open source Java library that carries out the management, for example, download, setup, and maintenance of drivers required by Selenium WebDriver. Example, Chrome driver, Gecko driver, and Microsoft Edge driver in a fully automated manner. Being that we're doing automation, we want fully automated as much as possible. In addition, WebDriver Manager provides other relevant features such as the capability to discover browsers installed in a local system, building WebDriver objects such as Chrome driver, Firefox driver, Edge driver, etc., and running browsers in Docker containers seamlessly. Oh, I didn't even know about this one. That's awesome. We will cover Docker at some point, but that is a very handy tool. All right. So let's say, as a version 5, the documentation for WebDriver Manager moved here. This site contains all features, examples, configurations, and advanced capabilities of WebDriver Manager. All right, perfect. So let's scroll down a little so we can see typically how. Let me see if he still has it on here. How it used to be versus how it is now. All right, it's probably in the documentation. Let's take a quick look at the documentation, because reading documentation is probably the most important thing that you're going to be doing, especially in QA. There's reading documentation of requirements of writing documentation for test cases, reading other people's test cases, executing test cases, understanding how different libraries work that you're going to need to use in your automated tests. So there's tons of uses for it, right? So let's take a quick look at this documentation. Selenium Webdriver is a library that allows controlling web browsers programmatically. It provides a cross-browser API that can be used to drive web browsers, the different browsers using different programming languages: Java, JavaScript, Python, C Sharp, and Ruby. The primary use of Selenium WebDriver is implementing automated tests for web apps. So yeah, that we should know already. All right, so let's scroll some more. From a practical point of view, we need to make a driver management process to use Selenium WebDriver. This process consists of download. Drivers are platform-specific binaries. To download the proper driver, we have to identify the driver type we need. All right, so that makes sense. So here we go. So typically, this is what you would have to do, right? System, set property, and then the driver that you're setting, and then you'd have to point a path to that Chrome driver on your computer to do that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're using all 5 of these browsers, you'd have to do it for each of them, right? So now when there's an upgrade to the driver because the browsers are constantly getting upgraded, what do? It's a lot of maintenance, right? Because if your Chrome web browser gets updated, but your Chrome driver isn't updated, sometimes all your tests are going to fail. They're not going to be able to run, and that becomes a hassle, if your test can't run. So, and that's what he's talking about right here. We need to warranty the compatibility between driver and browser in time. This step is relevant since modern browsers automatically upgrade themselves. And for this reason, the compatibility driver browser is not warranted in the long run, right? So exactly what I was just saying. I like every person who's been doing automation for the past 10 to 15 years, they know exactly what this is referring to. And if they are not using some sort of WebDriver manager, they are doing themselves a disservice. They're doing their company a disservice. So we already read what that is, right? So here's what we need. The setup. WebDriver Manager is primarily used as a Java dependency, although other usages are also possible. We typically use a build tool such as Maven or Gradle to resolve WebDriver Manager dependencies in Maven, or dependency. In Maven, it can be done as follows. Notice that is declared using test scope since it is typically used in test cases. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to remove the test scope. I'm going to comment it out for now because, you know what? I'll leave it because I'll show what I typically do when I'm creating tests. So here we have our dependencies so with this one, TestNG will be able to run our test. Selenium WebDriver for Java and the API will be able to write our tests using Selenium, and then Bonnie Garcia, we are going to be able to get our web drivers set up, our different drivers set up. There are a lot more libraries that I typically use, but for the basic live stream, we're showing the side-by-side comparison. We're just going to go with these 3 for now, and as we come across, if we need to add any additional ones, we will do that. All right, so we've got our libraries imported. Let's move over to the Python version of this. All right, so we have there's a couple of different ways to do it with Python. There is, for example, the pip install, which you would do it through a command line. and then it'll install it on your computer, or you can install it like project based for in Python packages. For this live stream, I'm gonna do both because they're both fairly easy to do. So let's start off with our installs. So we don't typically need a runner in Python. You're able to run the file straight as it is. But there's also like you can also use tools like behave and to manage your test cases. But we're just gonna focus on straight Selenium tonight. I don't want to complicate it much, so let's go to the first one we're gonna install here and look for Selenium. All right, so we have Selenium 4.9.1. And click on that. So there goes the pip install. So we're going to copy that. I'm going to go to my terminal here. And let's type it out. It's good to type out. Pip install if you don't make typos, of course. All right. So it's downloading all of the Selenium stuff and upgrade pip. All right, we'll do that another time. So we have Selenium. Now we're going to look for the WebDriver manager. So WebDriver Manager 3.8.6. There are a few different WebDriver managers. For instance, there is, if I go here, there's this WebDriver Manager 0.10.0. I looked into this one. I am not sure about that one. And what is this date over here? Whereby, let's see, last updated. Curious to see. May 3rd. This one is, see, this one, see, like I said, this, I'm not sure about this one because this one says it was updated February 22nd, 2021. Is that the case? Let me do a quick look into this one. That can't be right. It was released February 22nd. When was the last update? No, it says it. I don't see it on here. It's okay. Yeah, the reason I was really crazy about this because this one still downloads it to the local computer, and then you have to still do some work with that, which I am not a fan of. Anything being downloaded locally where you have to manipulate it. So let's go back and look at the WebDriver dash manager. And let's look for relevance. All right, so this was on version 3.8.6 and released April 13, 2023. I don't. So that must be the last update because I know this has been out for way longer than that. So this one is pip install WebDriver manager. It does the same thing. It gets installed. All right, here we go. So we are going to. So this is Python. So we install WebDriver manager. We installed Selenium, and I'll check this part later. So now let's create our first test. So what was that? All right, cool. All right, so I don't typically use the main folder when I'm writing my tests. I put everything inside of the test folder. Let me see this. So inside of the test folder, there's a Java folder, and then I normally create a folder called let's see. New. Something's not looking right here. Hold on 1 second. Where is my Maven? I know why. It's because the Java issue. So we have to resolve this Java issue in order for this to work right. All right. So let me fix the Java issue. I'm going to go to File, Settings. Language. Actually, no. Project Settings. Project Structure. And what's going on here? Why do I not have... All right, so let's download Java. I don't know what happened to my Java that I had, but we can quickly download one. All right, so it should be good now. What happened to my Java? All right, it's building. It's okay, so it's installing right now in this little, probably can't see it, but it says, let me move it up a little bit. It's installing Java. It's installing OpenJDK 20, and it should be ready soon. And that's why I wasn't getting none of my Java options, because could not find it. All right, so let's see here. Are we ready yet? Reload. I haven't used this computer for Java in a while, so bear with me while I get it completely ready. So mark directory as test sources root, and we can mark this one as sources root. All right, cool. So new. All right, here we go. So actually, I want this one to be the. Is that the one I want? Yeah, let's do that one. Test sources root. So let's go to new. We're going to do a new package in Java. A package is, how would I explain it? The best explanation is Google. What is a Java package? A package in Java is used to group related classes. Think of it as a folder in a file directory. We use packages to avoid name conflicts and to write a better maintainable code. Packages are divided into two categories: built-in packages, packages from the Java packages, create your own packages. All right. So we have all these showing red. We're going to need to load all of our Maven stuff. But for the time being, all right, so I'm just going to create my first Java class. And what do we want to automate tonight? Last time we automated going to Amazon to add something to the cart. How about tonight we automate? What should we automate tonight? What? Let me see. www.Uber Eats. I never use Uber Eats, so we'll see how this goes. So Uber Eats has this is a page. Okay, so we'll automate entering a delivery address, and we'll go from there. All right, so here, dependency not found. Where is our Maven? Refresh. And so when Maven doesn't have the dependencies, it's going to show in red. Then you go in and you refresh your Maven, and it's going to be downloading those dependencies the same way that in our Python side, it was downloading our dependencies when we do the pip install. And that would then end up getting all the dependencies as I said red, and they was downloaded over here. There goes our Selenium being downloaded. There's some requirements, some dependencies of telemetry. Yep. And then this is the Monty Garcia stuff. So, and now it's indexing. This is green, no issues, just like we wanted it to be. So we have that here, and we're going to create a. So what I do is I create a package inside of Java, and I'm going to call it test cases. And I will create a Java class, and I'm going to call it Uber Eats. So in Java, when you're naming packages, they're all in lowercase. And when you're naming classes, they are in capital case, but with the first letter being capitalized. So we'll just call this one Uber Eats for now. And we'll not worry about the get stuff. Okay, so when you create a new class, it tells you the first line is the package that it belongs to, and then it says the class is public, and it is called Uber Eats. All right. So let's do that. Let's do the same thing inside of the. So I'm going to expand these because we do not really need. Actually, we're gonna need. I'm not gonna. We're gonna need Uber Eats website. So let's do this. When I need Uber Eats, I am going to pull it up in behind. But for now, we'll go like this. Put them side by side comparison view. And in here, I'm going to say inside of here, I'm going to create a directory called, or create a Python package called test cases. And when you create a Python package, it creates a init file. See what's inside of it. And it's empty. All right, so inside of test cases, we're going to create. Let's keep it consistent. I'm gonna create another Uber Eats. So in Python, the names of the files are normally lowercase. I normally separated by underscores. So I just used something in here to see what the traditional convention is, but we can always go to Google, which is your best friend. Google naming convention. What am I saying? Python naming conventions. Style guide for Python. Too long. So let's say naming convention for Python files. So let's look at the Stack Exchange. So yeah, timer underscore error. So the classes. So you're going to see the difference in setting up classes within Python and within Java. So this is the name convention. So let's say we're going to name it new Python file Uber underscore eats. So that's called Uber underscore eats.py, and this one is so. Notice the difference. So this is just a Python file. This is not a class. This is just a Python file. Um, However, in Java, the file is a class, and it needs to match the name of the file needs to match the name of the class. So if I was to go like that, it's going to be an error. What's the error? Class Uber Eats is public, should be declared in a file instead of in a file name Uber Eats. So that's not going to work, right? So if it wasn't public, then that would work. But being that it's a public class, that's not going to work. So we need to have no more errors. All right, so let us start. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do the most basic test in both, and then we're going to extract it to like a page object model, how we would do it the right way. But for us to see it working at first, we're just going to do it in the most basic way, and then we'll we get it to work, and then we do it better. That's the motto: get it to work and then do it better. So to get it to work, let's go on the Java side first. So remember when we pulled up TestNG, when we installed TestNG. So now within TestNG, there's something called annotations. So when writing tests, unit tests, we're going to say at test, which is a TestNG annotation. And now we're going to name our method void. So it's a public method, which is void. And we're going to name this test order food. Let's go with that. So order food, and that's our first test. Let's do the same thing on the Python side. So in Python, we got to do things manually. So we're going to do from Selenium import. What are we importing? Selenium Webdriver import web. Where in the world is WebDriver? Let's go back to the documentation to get the exact syntax, because you really don't need to remember all this stuff. It's just unnecessary. Make a copy of this. Like as long as, and that's the thing with engineering, especially with Q engineering, there's no need to remember every single command. As long as you know what you're looking for and how to reference it, because you're going to be doing a lot of copy and pasting anyways. So there's absolutely no need to be memorizing all of this stuff. I know I've had interviews where they expect you to have this stuff memorized off the top of your head, like what's the syntax, and it's like it's ridiculous, because why would you remember all this stuff? It's about the mindset, and are you able to figure out the solution? It's not about what you're able to regurgitate. A lot of the time when they're the ones who are asking you to regurgitate this stuff, they have such a linear way of thinking, and they get stuck at a standstill, So let's go to Selenium. So what do we need to set this up? So we got this already. We don't need the drivers. All right, so from Selenium, import WebDriver. Okay, so what we were doing before, from Selenium, import WebDriver. Perfect. And we're also going to need to do the same thing for the WebDriver manager. So, okay, so it shows you like the typical way you do from Selenium import WebDriver, and then you'd have to say the path to your local Chrome driver. Let's just read this real quick, right? Before, you need to download the Chrome driver binary, unzip somewhere on your PC, and set the path to this driver like this. From Selenium import WebDriver, driver equals webdriver.chrome, home, user, driver, Chrome driver. Like imagine for every single project and every single test, you need to put this stuff that like at any given moment this can change. This is crazy. So what did they say? It's boring. Moreover, every time a new version of the driver is released, you need to repeat all these steps again and again. With WebDriver Manager, you just need to do 2 simple steps. Pip install WebDriver Manager, we already did that. And then from use with Chrome, so we're not doing Selenium 3, so let's move over to Selenium 4. So Selenium, from Selenium import WebDriver, that's how you get it in Python. And then we're going to need this one as well. So let's move this here. From WebDriver underscore manager dot Chrome, import Chrome driver manager. From WebDriver manager dot core dot utils, import Chrome type. And normally you'd just be copying and pasting this stuff. I'm just being a little difficult because there is importance in actually writing things out. So driver equals WebDriver dot Chrome service equals Chrome. Are you using Chromium service in here? Oh, how did I scroll down so far? Okay, we're over here. Okay, so service.chrome service. Did I miss something? Okay, Chrome driver. I missed something. So I missed something. See, so I should have just copied and pasted it. Chrome port service. I needed that anyway. So let's do this. Go back a little bit. And we don't need the Chrome type. So let's do dot Chrome import Chrome driver mat. Oh my God, what am I doing? Okay, Chrome dot service import from WebDriver manager dot Chrome dot service import service as Chrome service. Why is that not working? Oh, that's from Selenium. That's why. Okay, so I'm just going to erase that because it's driving me crazy. Let's start over from Selenium dot Chrome dot WebDriver dot Chrome dot service. Here we go. Import service as Chrome service. See, and this is the thing. Like when you're doing this type of work, you're going to make typos. You're going to not see it right the first time and just have to go back and reread and just compare and contrast. And there we have it. So Chrome service, Chrome driver manager dot the self. All right, so we're good here. So now the driver is installed, and we're going to say. So there's a couple of ways to do this, but for right now, we're just going to put in straight the code for automating the order food process. So let's go back and compare the two so we can write out the steps that we would be taking. Okay, so I'm gonna go here, right over here, and then I'll copy it in here. So first step we would have to do is go to Uber Eats website. Then we would have to enter the delivery address in the address field. And we should probably click the accept cookies if displayed. And let's say let's find an address we can use. So let's use Texas Roadhouse. Where is their address? All right, so say we put this address in here. So we enter the address. So, and then we would click find food. To put the address, click find food. Let's say we want to click on the second. So in this case, this would be Wendy's. We want to click on the second one. And we want to limit it to national brands. Yeah, so to keep it simple, we're going to enter an address, click on find food, and we're going to click on this one. And we're going to validate menu title is displayed. Hopefully that shows up on all of them. So let's go here. All right, so we're going to just copy this over to, so one difference that we just seen, Python uses the hashtag as its comments, and when you paste it in Java, it certainly does not. Java uses the slashes as their comment. All right, here we go. So this is are going to be our test that we're going to automate. In Python, you can put it part of a class, but you can also put it straight inside of the Python file. It'll work just fine. In Java, it has to go inside of a method. And inside of that method, we have the testng annotation that would allow it to be executed. So start automating, and let's get the Java test to the same point as the Python test. So we are going to import or Selenium. Let us go to the Selenium site. Should be Oregon Selenium HQ. Actually, no. Let's go to the Selenium documentation. And that should give us the, not that one. Where is that? I guess I could use this one. No. Let's go here. Selenium Webdriver, read more. Getting started. Install. First, let's do first script. So see how they have on this Java, Python, C#, Ruby, JavaScript, Kotlin. So we're going to do it's not showing the import, but let me see if I do this. Oh, come on. Set up driver. Okay, so I could do that. So by starting this type WebDriver, it'll automatically add my imports for me, which is pretty cool. So another difference between Java and Python, in order to end a line, I need to put a semicolon, and I do not need to put it here. Also, in Python, I just put driver and then whatever the driver equals to, which is in this case webdriver.chrome. Here, I need to set up an instance of the driver, and that way it will unique driver. So there's a step missing, but I just want to show you what's going to happen, right? I'm going to do driver dot get and HTTP and we close it with here. Let's run this, see what happens. So applicable driver not found, attempting to install with Selenium Manager beta. This must be something new. So I've never seen before it. So maybe it looks like they installed their own version of their own implementation. But I'm gonna stop it. I don't like it. I don't like. So here we go back to the documentation, as Jocowitz, and we are going to find the Bonnie Garcia's GitHub repo, and we're going to go through how he would install it. So what it's going to do So for this, I'm going to copy it. It's just this one right here that you need to set up to set it up. Before all, we're going to say set up. We're going to say so before all. So and with before, it's a little different. And this, so this is probably using JUnit. And yep, this is using JUnit. TestNG uses it a little differently, but the most important part is this part right here. The setup WebDriver Manager Chrome driver setup. So this is going to be used to set up the Chrome driver manager where we don't have to manually get the set up the Chrome driver. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to paste that in here, right? So this is saying that it can't resolve WebDriver Manager. It's import class, and now it's added up here, and we are good to go. I'm going to put an annotation of before class using the TestNG one, not the JUnit one. So now this is saying static for a static method, set up all, call WebDriver Manager, the Chrome driver, and setup, right? And we are going to, and then after that's done, it's going to do the test where it says create the WebDriver, which is an instance of new Chrome driver, and it's going to go to the UberEats.com website. So now that we got this far, let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. Here we go. It opens up the Uber Eats website. And that is successful. So one thing that we also want to do is let's create this after method. So you always want to close the instance of the WebDriver once it's completed. So we're going to say static void tear down. So we have to take this out. So because in Java this is within the class, we need to take it out outside, or it's within the method. We need to take it out to be at the class level. And so then here, we don't need to say WebDriver here. We say the driver dot new Chrome driver, and then we can say driver dot quit. This doesn't need to be. This is public void teardown. So now if we run it again, it should open Uber Eats, and then once it opens Uber Eats and it's done, it should quit. It should run to this teardown. So let's give it one more run. And there we go, success. So in Java, we have successfully gone to the home page of Uber Eats, and then we close down the browser. Now let's go back over to, so let's move this one right here to here. Let's uncomment that. All right. Awesome. So we have our very first step of the test is going to Uber Eats. We're going to do the same thing now on the Python side. So, and we already have our WebDriver manager set up. Everything's set up here. So we would say driver.get and http://www.ubereats.com. And notice the similarities between the Java one and the one. Because Selenium is the one who makes both drivers, there's a lot of consistency. So driver.get Uber Eats, and there's no semicolon to close versus driver.get Uber Eats with the semicolon, but the changes in the syntax, but there's tons of similarities, right? So here we're going to run it in Python. Let's see what happens. It's our first one in Python. So it's downloading the driver, and boom, opens Uber Eats website. And apparently in Python it closes it out for you when it's done. So great. But in Python you should still they call it a fixture in Python, where you can still set up the driver.quit just to make sure that you don't have a lot of Chrome driver instances that are running on your computer. So let's get to this. So we got the first step down for both. And now let's do the second step. So we'll do the second step in Python. So let me see if I can get this. See if there's a way to get this Uber Eats. See, it already has that. How can we do this? I have an idea. Let's use it do this sometimes too. Run my test so I can get so I'm going to turn this one off. I'm going to run this test so I can get a clean version of Uber Eats without any cookies already. So let's run it again. So because I commented out the after method, the driver.quit is not going to run. All right, so that should be done running here. And I want to get this got it button. So I'm going to inspect it. So cookie banner. See if we're able to use a CSS selector. So we have cookie banner, and then what are our options? Button. So we have the opt-out button, and we have the got it button. Trying to see if there is any way to use a CSS selector in here, which of course there is, but I'm gonna go with as much as I don't like XPath, I'm gonna go with XPath on that one just so I can target that got it text. What's wrong with my XPath? Div at ID equals cookie banner. That should have worked. What's going on with my XPath? I rarely write XPath. Let's see if I do contains. What's going on with my XPath? All right, let's do div at ID, okay, equals. And then we're gonna do cookie banner. Okay, so that, I don't know what I had the first time, cookie banner, and then we're gonna go to // button. We're gonna look for the text of got it. All right, there we go. Copy that XPath. And where are we headed to? We are headed to PyCharm. So we're going to say, like I said, this is the most basic way to write a test. Find element by, they don't have by imported by default. So we're going to import by. See it by XPath in this case. And then we're going to say click. So we're saying, let's close this up. All right, so we're saying the driver is looking for the element by its XPath, and this is the XPath. And once you find it, you're going to click on that button. And we can do the same thing for, so we don't need this one anymore. Do the same thing for and the same thing for JavaScript. I mean, JavaScript, I'm crazy. For Java. So we're going to do driver dot find element by CSS selector. And what did I used to do for CSS? Is it like this? I don't even remember. And this, that doesn't seem right. But how does this thing go again? Find, so you can go over here, find element by. Let me see. What am I doing? By. Okay, so CSS selector and then the string of the CSS selector, and then I want to say click. So now we have, let me close this out too. Driver find element by CSS selector. This is a CSS selector, and then but this is, I'm not using, I'm using XPath in this case. I'm just so used to it's a CSS selector that I always type it in, even though that I might be using something else, and sometimes it bites me because I have to go back and update the page object that has all the selectors. So, all right, let's give it a run. We're going to run Python first, and then we're going to run Java. All right, so came up, it clicked it, and now we're going to do the same thing for did I press play? Do the same thing for Java. All right. Oh, I forgot to put this back. I want to put that back. All right. So next time it runs, it's going to close out the browser. So let's do. So now let's do the address. Let's do a couple of steps. We're going to do the address field. Let's go back to the home page. Guess I should have used the Java version of it again. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. We're going to give it a run. All right, so now, and we're going to need to find out the input fields selector. So input, so the ID for this is location, type ahead, home input. Okay, so there's only one ID of it. So we're going to do that in both of them. Let's do it in, I'm going to leave this one open just so we can have, so we can use as a reference. So enter the input field, driver dot find element by ID. Place the ID in here, dot click. It's annoying. Java is not as sensitive with indentation. It's a requirement of getting proper indentation in Python. So actually, we're not clicking this. We are going to send keys, and the keys that we're going to send is the address of Texas Roadhouse for some weird reason. And then we are going to say driver find element by, and then when we look here, let's go back to our Uber Eats here. Sometimes I feel like I need like 5 different browsers to so find food button, not 5 different browsers, but 5 different monitors. So this is just terrible practices by Uber Eats. For one, makes it very hard to automate this. Find food. Let's try that again. What kind of class names are these? Jesus. I hate to do this, but okay. That's how they want to do it. Button. Text. Find food. All right, there we go. Find food. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to automate this workflow in both, and then we're going to call it a night, and then we will have a subsequent live stream where we finish off. So we're going to finish this, and then we're going to the next time we're going to extract it to put it in a proper in a better format. This is just like your very first day of automating what you would do, but there is a much better way that's pretty much industry standard when automating, and that would be like using the page object model and the page factory. But we'll get there most likely in our next live stream. But let's get this to work. So we say find food, and then we're gonna click it. Oh my god, what's up with these indentations? Oh, it's because I didn't put the semicolon. Because when you go back and forth between Java and Python, sometimes you put the semicolons, sometimes you don't, and it's just one big mess. It's like kids when they have the ability to speak like 5 different languages, and they're really young, and they start going to Spanish to French to English all in like the same sentence. That's what it is like when you're coding in multiple languages. So we have these two for enter the field and enter the address field. And so let's move this one over to here. All right, so we're going to put that. So let's do the same thing over in on the Python side. We're going to do driver.find element by ID. And what's the ID for that one? This one. Dot click. Find food. Driver dot find element by XPath. And this one is using the button and the text of find food, which I hate doing it that way, but sometimes there's not a good CSS selector or they don't use an ID. One thing I would tell you, if you are a QA engineer or if you are a web developer or software engineer, if you're a QA engineer, encourage no, you know what? Don't encourage. Demand that your developers and especially your web designers, your web developers, to put proper IDs. If not IDs, they can put like these special. They can create tags, right, and give it testing values. So, for instance, you can have like QA data ID, right, and you can pass in find food button. And that way you don't have to be using XPaths and stuff that can change and everything like that. It's just it's good practice to have your developers help you make your test feasible. So that way you can have more comprehensive automated tests. So all right, so here we are. We have the type ahead, home input, and we have it for both. So let's run it for both again. Let's run in. So I'm gonna turn this on because we're not going more. Oh, I forgot to put. So see, I almost made a mistake. And give me 1 second to be right back. All right, sorry about that. The cat was just screaming like crazy. Had to let him in the house. So let's keep going before we wrap it up for tonight. So let me. So let's run this. Running in Java. Yeah, we should have the browser pop up. So this. It showed up on the other screen. Hold on. Okay, so here we go. So I clicked it and then it closed it. So we will fix that because it needs something to do with it. Well, let's do this. Let's do, just so we can see it, I'm going to put what they call thread.sleep and give it about 5 seconds. Let's do that. Okay. So just so we can see it, generally we don't like using thread.sleep. There's different types of weights that we can set up. And with Selenium, where it can be like waiting a certain amount of time for an element to be ready, or you waiting for a particular element. They're called like fluent weights, implicit weights, explicit weights. We can maybe on the next one where we finish this off, we can touch on that. But for now, I'm just gonna use this so we can see it in action. So it opens up, puts in the address. Should click on, why did it stop? Wait for it. Put more time. All right, let's try that one more time because I wanted to I want us to at least show us the next page. It's not showing us the next page. There might be something going on. All right, we'll revisit that as we get to the next step because something with the clicking on the find food is acting a little weird, but let's try running it in Python. See if we have any different results here. Yeah, I'm really curious to know which one you find easier, if it's the Python one or the see how if you find Python easier or if you find Java easier, as in terms of syntax, setup, etc. So, like going back and forth, right? So this one in Python for the Selenium, it's a capital ID, capital X path, while here it's lowercase. So here we get this error that it couldn't it doesn't know what it means by ID. Did you mean ID? So let's run that again. All right, I went through. So now let's do the next step because let's see if we're at least able to get the results page displayed. So we're here. Let's look for this. We're gonna add some validation. Oh my god, like what is this? What kind of I don't know what kind of logic this is. It makes me kind of wish it didn't pick Uber Eats, but at the same time, it's good that we did because we see like the impossible some of the impossible things we deal with as QA engineers where the class names are god awful. Like this is like almost this makes no sense on how you would try to figure out some XPath. So make this bigger. Let's say, what can we find? Section. There's 23 sections. Great. So div. Oh my goodness. Let's verify on something else. Let's see. How about all stores? Okay, so we have H1 here at least. So let's say H1, 1 of 14. Let's see if we can find something for this sidebar. Let's do div.by. All right, so div.by H1 would give us all stores. For the sake of this is going to have to work. Let's say assert driver dot find element by CSS equals all stores. All right, so that's how we would do it in Python. And let's do the same thing in Java. Let's say how do we do that again? Assert dot assert equals driver dot find element by CSS selector. The selector is 1, 2, all stores. That should be lowercase. So that is saying once you get to this page, find the CSS selector for div.by. So a div with the class of by, and inside of that div there's a h1 tag, and the h1 tag should say all stores. So I'm saying the same thing, just a different syntax. Let's give it a run. Okay, why did it fail? So like I thought, I think there's something going on with that click button. Let's see. So I couldn't find, so yeah, it didn't go to the next page. Let's see what happens inside of the one. It's kind of like a race, which one's going to get to the next page first. So they both failed. So let's see how we can do this. I'm going to try to run this maximize window. See if we do it maximized, if it'll have better shot at finding the. Because sometimes when the element, for instance, in this case, the button isn't on the screen, it has a hard time finding it. But I do see it on the screen though, so that shouldn't have been it. Like it's not clicking it. Let's try something. Find food. It's right there. Let's make sure that we're actually clicking it. We are clicking it. Let me try to move this up here. See what happens with that. Let's see here. It's loading. So now it's gonna put in the. Okay, so some weird reason. So the timing. All right, cool. So here we go. So that should have passed. Okay. So you need to say get text. So because it returned this Chrome driver when I was looking for all stories, but that's because I didn't say to get the text. So you're like you end up like when doing these automated tests, you're gonna end up running them over and over again just to get them right. So let's run it one more time before we switch over to the Python side to see how that goes. It's gonna maximize. Should have passed. All right, cool. So looks like the page didn't load again, but that is okay. Put this over here. Put that maximize first. Okay, cool. So let's put that on hold. Let's go over to the Python side. I'm gonna do a maximize for this too. Maximize. And let's add a wait time. Something real quick. Driver dot timeouts. Implicit wait. Duration of seconds. Let's say 15 seconds. Here. All right. So now on the for the time being. So in Java, it's thread.sleep, and Python, it's time.sleep. And let's do 10 seconds. So in Java, it's using milliseconds, and Python, it's using regular seconds. And I think I'm going to add a implicit wait. Implicit wait. What's the properties? Time to wait. I just do 10. Cool. Let's do that. So let's give this one a run. So I said implicit wait of 10 seconds, and I just added a 10-second thread on there, a 10-second sleep before going to the next step. So it's going to fill it in. I think I know what the problem is. It's so some this is one of the typical problems with automating because like it goes faster than a human would go. So what happens is as soon as it puts this, it's not even finished registering it before it's trying to click on the find food, but it's like it still thinks that the address is blank. So let's add like 3 seconds. Let's add 5 seconds to be safe. And now let's see what happens. I think that's why it worked the other time in Java because it was able to register the address before it it registered the address before it um, clicked it. So let's see. Or maybe you need to be clicking on this before it actually registers it. So many different things can happen. Let's see. We are going to get this. Oh, see, this is my mistake here on the Python side. I didn't put the click, so I have to click on this side, but not on. All right, so let's run it one more time. This time you should click it in Python. I might have not even needed that 5 seconds, but let's put it anyways, and then we can. So, like I said earlier, we get it to work, and then we factor. A lot of times we try to write our code perfectly, and then when it runs, it doesn't even work. So then we ended up wasting a lot of time, and then we have to troubleshoot our perfectly written non-working code. Imagine that. Um, so let me see. Why did that one? So that one couldn't assert it. All right. So we know it got there, but for some reason it couldn't assert it. So we can figure that out after. Let me run it in Java one more time to see where we get to. We don't know what's going on with the Java side. We saw it work before, so it's just something that it's not liking. Very strange. But this is things that you deal with when you're automating. You might have everything written out correctly, but then you have to figure out why isn't it doing what you want it to do. All right, so here in Java we are here, and it is not going to the next page. But in Python, it is going to the next page. However, comma, it is not, for some reason, it didn't find this in Python. And we want to know why. So the error says assertion error, find element by, oh, I did the same mistake in Python that I did in Java. Text, I don't think I need. So this one should work this time. All right, Python worked. It was able to find this. So let's keep going with Python for the time being. So click on the second restaurant under national brands. So let's look at this. Let's find a so test data ID. So they have it in this instance, the data test ID, but on the homepage they didn't have it for some strange reason. Oh. So there's 189 of them. Let's go here. Equal store card. So 171 of these. So let's add this one to it. Li data test ID equals, close that bracket. I should put these in single quotes. Oh, that one's carousel slide actually. H3. So let's do that. So the first one is Checkers. And then the second one is Wendy's. So the question is, how do we get the second one? So it's 2 out of 91. So to me, the cleanest way has always been for me, like when having to get a positional one. There's a couple of ways to get it. You can create a list of the elements that I found based on this XPath by the CSS selector. Maybe we'll do that on our next stream, but I'm gonna just use XPath for now. And I'm gonna say, for the sake of time, so this is Wendy's. I'm gonna say here driver.find elements element C by XPath dot click, and we can use the same one for the job one. So next time we'd use the find elements to assign it to a list, and then we'd say click on the second position in the list. But that is a little bit more advanced than we want to do for today. So let's move this out of the way. Let's go back to let's update our Java just to be on the same page as our Python. So driver.find element by XPath dot click. And once it gets to that page, click click on Wendy's, and we want to validate that. Do we still want to use this one? Actually, let's look for this one, group order, because that would be a pretty important functionality on the site. Let's say so. What is this part of? So this is part of. My goodness, these are such terrible. Let's see. They don't even. Oh, I'm not using this one. How about what is this picked for you? All of them should have a picked for you, but there's also no good selectors on there either. This is ridiculous. Right, I'm gonna try to find something with menu. So let's go to schedule button. This is so bad. Just crazy. These selectors. This is like I said earlier, this is the issues that we run into as QA engineers, like trying to find a good selector sometimes can be very challenging when the engineers do this type of code where it is like all over the place. There's no consistency. There's no uniqueness. It gets very frustrating. But that's one of the reasons. Like as you get more comfortable as a QA engineer, you need to advocate for what you need. You don't just like go with the flow. You say, look, if we want our product to be successful, to have less chance of bugs, we need to be able to advocate for the things that are going to give our customers the best quality products. Like I'd be curious to see their automation suite that they have. Like how do they use these selectors? Let's see what I could find. It's not much, by the way. Let me see. How about that? Let's see what ratings they have. These are so bad. They have a data ID for the store title. All right, let's do this. Let's make sure that the store title exists, because I don't want to keep fighting with this nonsense. So assert driver dot find element by CSS selector. Let's get the selector now. H1 data test ID. It should be like this. Data test ID equals story test summary. And let's just say that it exists, because the thing is you don't know what position Wendy's is going to be at the next time. So you don't want to lock yourself into these static tasks. You just want to make sure that a product loads. So one validation, if you wanted to make sure that it was the second one, is you can capture the name on the listing of all the restaurants page, and then you can compare it to the name that's here. But let's not do that for tonight. And we'll say assert equals I don't want to do that. Assert. Let's say assert that it is displayed. Let's do that. So I think that would be because that's going to return a true. So now let's just do this in the Java side as well. All right, so assert that's capital A. Assert true, and we're gonna say that driver dot find element by CSS selector. Copy that. Copy here. Is enabled. Article is displayed since that's what we did in Python. Something's not right in here. This is for this one. This is for that one. Let me see. Method call expected. Oh, not again. Okay. All right, so we have it validating that is displayed. Let's give it a run in each one more time. And then we will call it a wrap for tonight. I don't know about you guys, but after working on Uber Eats site, I'm getting a little hungry. So after we wrap up, I might go get something to eat. Most likely not from Uber Eats. All right, so it worked in Python. I don't know if it's going to work in Java, but let's give it a run anyways. And then if it doesn't, we can troubleshoot it together next time and we can extract the tests. I see it clicking on it, but it's not doing anything. So something to figure out on the Java side, which add that to your thinking of which one do you like better, the Java, like automating with Java or automating with Python? I don't have my preference, but I'm curious to hear what you think about it too. All right, so we did all of this. And it's working on the Python side, not working completely on the Java side, even though we have the same exact code. So let us, and we did, so what we did was we set up the driver. We got the WebDriver manager. In JavaScript, we got TestNG. I'm saying JavaScript. In Java, we have TestNG, we have Selenium Webdriver, we have the WebDriver manager. In Python, we have the Selenium WebDriver, and we have the WebDriver manager. And what we did was we set up the driver, we maximize the window, set an implicit wait of 10 seconds. We go to the Uber Eats website, we say we accept the cookies, then we enter the address that we're going to, or the address that we want it to be delivered to, and then we click find food, wait 10 seconds, verify that all storage is shown in this position div dot the buy and H1. And then we click on the second restaurant. We use XPath in this instance. Also, although next time we can change that to a list where it gathers all of them. And then we did driver.fileElement where we were validating that the menu title is displayed. As we see, it's working in Python, not working in Java yet, but we will get it. So where is this? Let us go here. Because we are going to so we have fully automated the Uber Eats automated Uber Eats, and we are going from the entire Chrome driver, and we went to setting up the Chrome driver. The Chrome driver navigated through the Uber Eats website, and both we were able to do that. We validated that all stores was shown, and then we restaurant under national brands, and then once it clicked on that, the name, like the H1 that contains the store title summary, we made sure that it is displayed. So this is the beginning steps of automating a test case. As you can see, like the initial setup does take some time because you have to like gather all your tools, gather all your libraries, setting them up a particular way. So it does take some it takes some time at the beginning, but now I think the next step that we could do is after we figure out like why Java isn't working, could be a variety of reasons. We can get the Java to work, so we can continue going side by side, and we can what we can do from there is start to make it better, make it more reusable. Because right now this is like just one test, and if you needed to write another test, you would have pretty much to do the same exact thing over again, as starting over. And when you start like navigating to the browser, you just like copy and paste the test and just change the value. That is not the best way to do it. What we are going to do next time is we're going to start migrating our test to like the page object model using the page factories. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you join us for that live stream where we're going to continue on what we're working on now. And yeah, it's just gonna be walking us through both, and you can decide because like some companies they might require you to use one or the other, but other companies like they are more apt to let you freestyle and do what's ever best for the team, best for the company. Uh, you're not necessarily locked into a particular way of doing it. So yeah, but let's end it for tonight here, and we will pick up next time to continue in this particular side by side comment. I really appreciate you working with me tonight, and I will see you next. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave me a comment on your thoughts, and leave me a comment and click the notify button so you can know the next time we're going live, and we can continue with this. Thanks again. Signing off.